Bettors here with 32 NFL season previews in 32 days. We are on day 16, and we're going to finish off the AFC West and the entire AFC today. We are about halfway through. We'll get into the NFC starting tomorrow, but today let's finish the AFC West off with the Denver Broncos. As always, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our season previews and all of our free NFL picks for the 2021 NFL season. While you're at it, smash that like button. The preseason is in full force. NFL season's just around the corner, and we are excited to get football started back up again. But before we get into the Broncos season preview, just a reminder, we're giving away $1,000 this NFL season over at our website at grandstandbettors.com. Head on over there, sign up for our free NFL contest. The link is below in the description. Head on over, sign up, and maybe you could be one of our subscribers taking home $1,000 in the NFL season. While you're over at grandstandbettors.com, go ahead and become part of our family and start letting us do the work while you do the winning. But without further ado, let's dive into the Broncos season preview. And to do so, let's take a quick look back at the 2020 season. Now, the Broncos finished last in the AFC West division with a 5-11 record, hitting their under last year. Their preseason over-under win total was at 7. Now, in all honesty, they got lucky getting that close to a push with 5 wins. 4 of those games were decided by a possession or less, and if their offense did not show up in those games like they did for the majority of the season, they probably would have only won 1 game against the New York Jets. They had 4 starting quarterbacks throughout the season last year, and now they have had 10 different quarterbacks in trying to fill that position since the retirement of Peyton Manning in 2016. Peyton at the Hall of Fame enshrinement looks pretty good. Maybe they might want to ask him if he wants to play a little bit more. The most recent attempt at quarterback has been Drew Lock, who has shown signs of glimmer, but overall, he's not the right guy for the Broncos. He was tied for the most interceptions in the league last season and only has a 57 completion percentage, which was worst in the NFL last year. This is really a shame, too, when you consider the talent around him last year, who included players such as Phillip Lindsay, tight end Noah Fant, and rookie wide receiver Jerry Jeudy. Now, their defense, it wasn't horrible last season, but they did give up 27.9 points per game, which is not really a recipe to win games. If the Broncos are going to get back on track this year, they're going to need to step things up and find themselves a quarterback and a better defense. Getting into their 2021 season preview, let's first dive into the offensive moves they made in free agency. The first addition we want to highlight was the signing of Teddy Bridgewater from the Carolina Panthers. Now, Teddy Bridgewater, in our opinion, is not the worst quarterback in the league, but he's certainly not the best quarterback. Is he better than Drew Lock? We think so. Now, we're going to have to wait and see what Vic Fangio decides after the preseason, see if he's worthy of starting. But Bridgewater certainly struggles with his decision-making, which can lead to interceptions. But overall, he has been in the league much longer than Lock. And after a good comeback season last year with the Panthers, he should probably be able to build on that success and get this team maybe a few more wins. Now, a few other offseason moves that helped the offense was the signing of Bobby Massey from the Bears and a right tackle and resigning wide receiver Cortland Sutton, who is returning from injury last season. Now, a big loss we want to highlight is their running back. Phillip Lindsay went to the Texans. Melvin Gordon now is with the Broncos. He's going to have complete possession of the running back position on this team from the start of the season. We'll see how Gordon does in his 6th NFL season because there might be a replacement waiting in the wings behind him. Now, defensively, the Broncos made some nice additions to their secondary by signing cornerbacks Kyle Fuller from the Bears and Ronald Darby from the Washington football team. Their run defense and front seven, though, needed more help than their secondary. They were the 8th worst in the league, giving up 130 yards rushing per game. They were good at getting to the quarterback, as they averaged the 8th most sacks in the league, so they could use some depth at both the interior defensive line positions and the linebacker positions. Now, with their draft picks, the Broncos got Patrick Surtain II from Alabama with their first-round pick, and that's going to add a lot of depth to the cornerback position. They also drafted linebacker Baron Browning from Ohio State. Although it seemed like their offense was in worse shape than their defense, we think signing Bridgewater, the Broncos are going to be able to get through maybe one more season with the offense the way it is and build on their defense this season. Maybe next season they address their offensive issues, but it looks like this season they went after the defense and they're going to build on some young talent. And that's something that the fans of Denver should be excited to watch. Now, the focus seems to be strengthening the defense, as we just alluded to, and finding that right franchise quarterback might be in the draft next year, but we'll have to sit back and wait and see what happens. With the last 2 picks of their draft this year, the Broncos did get a running back, Javonte Williams out of North Carolina, who we alluded to might be that guy waiting in the wings behind Melvin Gordon, although he's probably going to see some good playing time this season. And guard Quinn Miners from Wisconsin Whitewater, who can also play center, so he may sneak into that 53-man roster come week 1. If you dive into their schedule this season, the Broncos have the 6th easiest schedule, which probably plays into a factor that their preseason over-under is a game higher, 1.5 higher actually, than last season, despite going under 2 games their over-under from last season. They actually are sitting at 8.5 over-under right now, so it's basically saying, do you think the Broncos are going to be a 500 team or under 500 team? Now, the Broncos have to play the Chiefs, Raiders, and Chargers twice, and none of those games are going to be fun with their offenses. The Broncos managed last year to pull off 1 win from those games. We see maybe the same thing happening with maybe a win at home against Las Vegas or maybe the Chargers. The rest of the AFC games this season features matchups with the AFC North, which you have them going 1-3 against, and games against the Jags and Jets, which we think that they can win both of those. With 5 games left against NFC opponents, that puts their win total roughly at 4 or 5 wins, being generous. They do get to play in the NFC, the Lions, Eagles, and Washington football team at home, and have the Giants and Cowboys on the road. We have their Week 1 game in New York probably being lost to the Giants, as well as the games against Washington football team and Dallas. Beating the Eagles and Lions would still only put them at 7 wins, which means they either need to beat the Chiefs once, another AFC North team besides the Bengals, or another NFC East team. We just don't see it happening, and this is why we like the under 8.5 with the season total pick here. The Broncos are getting close to putting the pieces together, and the defense may keep them in most games, but Bridgewater historically is just not a clutch quarterback, and their offense is going to probably come up short in most games. Bronco fans, let us know. What do you think your team's going to do this season? Put your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know what your season win total is. Is it over 8.5, under 8.5? Give us those predictions below in the comments. Rep your team. Rep the Broncos. Hey, listen, we have nothing against the Broncos. We just don't think they're above 500 team right now. For us here at Grandstand Bettors, though, that does do it for the Broncos season preview. Stay tuned as we are now halfway through all of our season previews. We are going to dive into the NFC starting tomorrow. As always, guys, sit back, relax, enjoy all the preseason football that's going on, and we'll see you tomorrow.